Spoilers for Transformer 1, Star Wars, and the comic and show of The Boys. We are able to change and we have the freedom of choice. These allow us to be unique and have our own personality. But people are influenced by the environment and crowd around them. People have the choice to do either good or evil. And for this video, we are going over characters that could be argued or created or influenced to be evil. This is not an excuse to their actions. Understanding and seeing a person's backstory is different, and it allows us to have some insight and find reason to someone's actions. Just because you could reason with someone doesn't mean you're vouch for them. Comparing it to other characters like the Joker, there's never really an answer at times. But before we start, it will mean a lot if you like and subscribe. And with that, let's begin with the first character, and that is Megatron from Transformer 1. He is known as D16 throughout the film until the end. He is like the big brother to Orion Pax, who will later become Optimus Prime, and he will help him and have his back when he gets into trouble. A funny example is when he mentions that he had to help Optimus to untransform when he attempted to transform without a cog. A cog allows the robots to transform, but D16 and the other miners are not born with it. D16 and Pax will continue their work in the mines as they continue to strive to be something bigger. Well, mainly Orion. Orion wants more in his life, while Megatron is content with his life.
Don't you want to choose your own path, do whatever you want? We're miners. We mine, that's all. Oh,
Sentinel Prime is the leader of the city and is looking for the matrix of leadership. So Orion Pax wants to help Sentinel find that, so he goes through past records seeking for hints and any maps to know where the matrix of leadership went. After a search for the matrix of leadership, Sentinel Prime will come up empty-handed and announce that everyone gets a day off for a big race. Orion Pax will enter himself and D16 into a race, triggering him to enter. Even though they can't transform, they will use jetpacks. The two will help one another during the race and have close calls. Near the end, D16 and Orion will actually be in first place, but D16 will get injured and Orion Pax won't leave him, so he picks him up and they will attempt to cross the line, but will not cross the line and will come up last. After this, D16 will be angry at Orion and they will have to wait for Sentinel since they think that they will be in trouble. But Sentinel Prime comes in and tells them that they did a good job. He wants them to inspire the other miners since an increase in productivity happened after the race.
miners!
The two will get taken by Darkwing into a new work level where it is just throwing trash into a furnace, and that's where they will also meet B.
Or Badassatron.
One of B's imaginary friend will have a weird stick or map stuck in its head, and Orion will pick it up and it will be one of the message from another prime that wants help. Before Sentinel Prime, there were other primes that were the leader of Cybertron, and one had the matrix of leadership, which disappeared when they died. But this message will lead to the last place where the primes were giving a chance to Orion to seek out the matrix of leadership. D16, B, Elita, and Orion Pax will sneak into a train following the map that they found. No one really goes outside the city, and even the train doesn't have a conductor. The environment for some reason transforms and even destroys part of the train. The group will be thrown off the train and will walk to their location. When they go to the location, all their primes are dead. They notice that Alpha Trion could be awakened, and when he wakes up, he is confused and also questions why they don't have cogs and why are they miners. They tell him that they're just not born with it, and he seems confused about that. Then he will explain that Sentinel Prime isn't a real prime. D16 tries to discredit it, but Alpha shows him the truth and explains that he betrayed the primes and caused an ambush against them. And perfect timing, outside the cave, Sentinel Prime is outside doing a deal with the alien, their enemy. Wanting to help the group, Alpha Trion gives them his friend's cogs and a recording of Sentinel's betrayal. The matrix of leadership disappeared after Sentinel betrayed the group, since it could sense that he was going to abuse its power. D16 is filled with anger and wants to punish Sentinel, feeling betrayed by the things he just heard. The group will leave and Alpha Trion will stay back and get captured. While leaving and learning to transform and taking out some guards, they will be taken by the High Guards, and we will see Shockwave, Soundwave, and Starscream. My favorite is Shockwave. They explain that they sabotage Sentinel Prime and are against him, and D16 will get up and call them out. that he would rather attack Sentinel straight on, and Starscream will go against him and call him out, and both will start fighting. D16 will stop himself from killing Starscream and say this is the last time he's going to show mercy, and is now the leader of the High Guard. After D16 claiming his spot, Sentinel Prime army would attack them and capture many of the High Guards and Megatron. The evidence against Sentinel Prime is destroyed, but the group still thinks that they can fight him. Orion will convince the other miners to help. Elito with Shockwave and Soundwave will have the High Guard and hijack a train to hit Sentinel's tower. Meanwhile, with Sentinel Prime and D16, he will stand up against Sentinel Prime, but Sentinel Prime will push him down. Sentinel Prime will notice that D16 has a Megatronus Prime sticker, and Sentinel will gloat that he took his cog since he is the strongest Prime, and will carve that symbol into D16's chest, making the Decepticon logo. And then Orion and the other miners with the High Guard will crash into Sentinel's Prime's tower and free the High Guards and D16. D16 and Orion will fight Sentinel, but it will be a losing battle as Sentinel Prime is still stronger than them. D16 will attack him, and the others will spread the news that Sentinel Prime is evil. Sentinel Prime came down with a fatal thing called monologuing, and while he monologues, a speaker plays what he is saying, and everyone hears the truth. And from there, D16 will get a good hit and tackle Sentinel Prime down. D16 wants to kill him, but Orion attempts to stop him, saying that he is beat and that you don't have to kill him. But D16, using his cannon, fires, but Orion, wanting to protect the president, gets shot. And D16 will get Orion's hand before he falls. But then he remembers that he's not going to show mercy anymore and drops Orion, also saying that he's done protecting him. He will kill Sentinel after these and takes his cog, since the cog that Sentinel had again was the strongest. And D16 will tell the High Guard to destroy anything relating to Sentinel Prime. While falling, Orion will get the Matrix of Leadership and basically become Jesus and be reborn. He will stand up against Megatron and will beat him, but he will not kill him and instead exile. Megatron will leave with the High Guards, and they will all put themselves the Decepticon logo.
We will not be blinded by his deception. We are the ones who are Decepticons!
Megatron was fine working, he was fine climbing the corporate ladder, but when he found out that the leader was abusing his power and took everything away in a sense from Megatron, Megatron had nothing else other than anger and rage. He said that he would never trust a leader. Well, paraphrasing that, I'm not too sure. He was hurt and he hated how his trust was taken advantage of, and the things that he'd been doing throughout his life were all a lie. I think that he is stubborn, but there would be people who are like these. It could be seen as a hypocrite because he is now a leader. He's an extremist, and a real life example will be like Malcolm X, and other characters in fiction will be like Magneto. Magneto could be kind of compared to him since Magneto survived the camps during World War II and saw discrimination, so he doesn't want history to repeat, so he groups up mutants to fight the oppressors. Megatron in this film is the same. He sees that leaders who abuse their power, and he doesn't want that to happen. His actions are reasonable, but at the same time, rage is not always the answer. Rage will only continue to fuel more hate, but it is not all bad, because there is a time for it, but like everything else, too much of it is bad, but also too little of it is also bad. It just needs to be balanced out. In conclusion, Megatron lost everything when he found out that the person he looked up to was a fraud, and that the leader was abusing his power. And to many, I feel like these will be seen as reasonable. And leave that in a comment if you think that he did cross the line, or if he didn't cross the line. The next person is Darth Vader, also known as Anakin Skywalker. He was hyped up to be the chosen one. He will be a slave until he was freed by a Jedi cult. He will be taken by the Jedis and will follow the rules. But he will be a bit of a rebellious Jedi since he did do things his own way at times. In the Star Wars universe, midichlorians are the things that give people their powers, in a sense, the Force. The more you have of it, the more powerful you are. And Anakin had a high count of it, making him a powerful Force wielder. A theory back then was that Darth Sidious used the Force to make Anakin, but the main reason is because of his midichlorian count was so high, he basically birthed himself into existence, or the Force birthed him into existence. Anakin will grow up in the Jedi Code and did not like the rules. An example is you're not supposed to have any attachments to anyone else, but Anakin does have an attachment to people like his girlfriend and the people around him. Even with his girlfriend, he will have a secret marriage behind the Jedi Council's back. Darth Sidious is the main villain of the Star Wars universe, and will prepare scenarios to push Anakin to the dark side. He made a war happen, he had many other apprentices. Darth Sidious was just the mastermind behind the whole Empire, Clone Wars, so on and so on. Darth Sidious was also the counselor. Having a high power of the Republic, he will be able to play both sides in a sense, and he will keep these a secret. Anakin will be given the rank of a general, and he will lead platoons of clones to fight. And he will have some attachments to like Captain Rex and his Padawan Ahsoka. Anakin will also go through rough times, and an example is when his mother died. But these will also show his dark side, because when he went to the village of the Sand People that kidnapped his mother, he massacred the village. Another time that showed his dark side was during a Clone Wars episode when Obi-Wan, his master, will get shot, and thinking that he is dead, he will seek revenge. Anakin will have a main character syndrome as Darth Sidious kind of planned everything ahead that he wouldn't die. Like an example is keeping Grievous from fighting him. Anakin will mainly win throughout the war. One thing that Anakin would lose that impacted him was his Padawan. His apprentice was being framed, and the Jedi Council was already gonna throw her to the wolves, basically not gonna help her or defend her. And while she was found not guilty, she did not forgive the Jedi Council, and the Jedi Council wanted her back, but she refused, and in a sense, refused to be Anakin's apprentice. So Grievous kidnapped the counselor, and it's near the end of the war. Obi-Wan and Anakin enter his ship and will fight Count Dooku. Grievous will be able to escape. Dooku will beat Obi-Wan and 1v1 Anakin, which Anakin wins and cuts off Dooku's hands, making him defenseless. But the counselor, watching the whole thing, will tell him to kill Count Dooku. But Anakin hesitates, but the counselor tells him to do it, and he does it. After escaping the ship, Anakin will visit the counselor, and the counselor will reveal that he is a Dark Lord and will tempt Anakin by telling him that the dark side have power to protect, and convince him by telling him that he has seen potential in Anakin and see that Anakin wants more in life than just the Jedi Code, which Anakin will then snitch on him and tell the Jedi Council. Mace Windu, one of the head of the Jedi Council, will tell him to stay back as he sensed that Anakin could fall to the dark side. Mace also denied the rank of master to Anakin, so Anakin has a tiny bit of a grudge against him. Mace Windu and a group of Jedis will go confront Darth Sidious without Anakin. The group of Jedi will be easily killed, but Mace Windu is the more powerful Jedi and skilled Jedi and is able to take down Darth Sidious, but not kill him. But Anakin will walk in before Mace Windu could do anything. Mace Windu tells him that he's gonna kill Darth Sidious, but Anakin tells him he's defenseless and he shouldn't. And Anakin will cut off Mace Windu's hand before he could strike Sidious, and Sidious will unleash ultimate power on Mace Windu. Anakin will now follow with Darth Sidious, now joining the dark side, and Order 66 will be executed. Anakin will lead a group of clones to attack the Jedi Temple and kill many Jedi, even the younglings. This is 2 times he has done that. The last time was with the Sand People. Then he will meet Obi-Wan in a lava planet and see that his wife is with him, and from there assumes that they are betraying him and she's cheating, and he will attack both of them in anger. Obi-Wan and him will fight, and eventually Obi-Wan will get the high ground and win, cutting down Anakin and leaving him to die until Darth Sidious picks him up, making him into Darth Vader. He will continue to hunt down Jedis and defeat rebels. Eventually, when he discovers he has a son, he will have a change in heart, and his son will try to bring back the good side of Darth Vader, which worked. Anakin, once a hero, a prophecy to balance the Force, will fall to the dark side due to his paranoia and fears. He didn't like the Jedi Code and was confused and conflicted with it, but he also didn't really want to join the dark side either. But he wanted to just enjoy life how he wanted to. He even argued that attachment was a factor that led Anakin to the dark side. He just wanted to protect the people he was with. He will be upset if they get hurt, but the Jedi Code is telling him to not have those close attachment. Some of Anakin's actions are not excusable, like when he killed the younglings. He was clouded with poor judgment, but at the same time, he had the time to think before his action, and he could have refused his temptations. But with his fear and anger, we could kind of understand a bit on why he turned into the dark side, especially since the Jedi Council was also being a hypocrite. If someone promised you to protect your family and loved ones, will you refuse that offer? Because I know many will take that offer. And there are many factors that led to his decision, but influenced by the Dark Sidious to join the dark side, he knew how to tempt Anakin into it. Anakin, even having the most potential in the Force, still didn't have the concept of how the world is and was able to be influenced by both sides. But at the end, he chose the dark side. But eventually, he will have regrets and goes back to being good. But that does not neglect the fact that he caused many deaths and also enforced the Empire for many years. Disclaimer, since this is going to go through some sensitive topics and disgusting topics since it's Homelander. Bought a company in their universe created Homelander to be the best superhero and the most powerful. He was created by combining the two most powerful heroes at the time. This is the only one who could be argued is not a hero and is a product instead. He was created in a lab. Homelander was first seemed to be nice and naive, but over time was corrupted. The comic and TV show have some differences, but also similarities. So I'm gonna explain the comic one first. So Homelander abuses his power and basically is the Diddy of this universe. He will make false promises and does some killings. The boys in this universe are enforcers, they're like police and they check on heroes. The group is made up of people that Butcher and Mallory selected and were people who were wronged by heroes and were given a super soldier serum to be able to fight those heroes. Butcher was selected because his wife died due to a superhero. She was impregnated and it was an essay during their vacation. The superhero group, the Seven, which Homelander is part of, was at the place where they were having their vacation at. So Butcher assumes it was Homelander, and that's why he wants revenge against him. Butcher is also evil as he will find any excuse to beat up any superheroes. Some will give Butcher evidence of Homelander doing a lot of deprived acts, including cannibalism, and essay that goes on. Homelander will make a truce with the boys on both sides since they didn't like one another, promise that they won't kill one another, and promise that the photos will not be sent out. The Seven will promise that they won't kill them. Homelander was still confused on why Butcher hates him. Homelander would attempt to form an army of superheroes to attack the country and to take it over. Stillwell is the manager of Vought, and Homelander is afraid of him but also wants his approval, seeing him like a father. But Stillwell is like a disappointing father, as anything he does, Stillwell wouldn't react to. Homelander will make false promises like sleeping with heroes and promising that they could have a chance to be part of his team, but he wouldn't really, he just wanted to because he can. Things will escalate when he launches attack and he will go to the White House and take it over, where Butcher will confront him, but then it is revealed Noir, a member of the Seven, is a clone of Homelander who had the task to kill him if he stepped out of line. The clone set up Homelander. He committed the first horrible acts, like the essay to Butcher's wife. He was tasked to kill Homelander and has gone crazy because it seemed like the time would never happen. Homelander is mad, as throughout the comics, he was confused on why he did those acts. He saw the photos, but he couldn't believe that he did it. He didn't have no recollections of it. He is confused and angry that he could probably have been better. It could be argued if Homelander would have been better, but nonetheless, he was still created and had a high ego, so he was gonna be evil eventually. But at the end, Homelander will meet his maker and Noir will kill him. The show is different as Noir is not a clone. Homelander was a science experiment again, but he was tortured, experimented on, and was more of a lab guinea pig than anything, which he resents. He still had innocence shown in like a cartoon, but he was corrupted by the people around him. Noir in the show was shown to be part of an old group that Homelander's father was in, but Homelander's father was a bully, and Noir got his head bashed by him, so he decided to befriend the next powerhouse, which will be Homelander, and keeping a secret to Homelander of who his father is. After a botched hostage situation, Noir and Homelander will fight. Well, more of Noir running away, and they would end up destroying the buildings around them. Homelander was afraid that Noir was going to expose him and that get him in trouble, but Noir reveals that he wants to help him cover it up. Homelander throughout the show has shown that he has a very high ego and thinks he could do anything. He is the strongest one in their universe, so no one could really stand up against him. So he pushed that further and further, and he will continue to have many supporters, which will also boost his ego. The show is still going on, so we do not know the fate of Homelander in this universe. The difference between the other two characters are different from Homelander, as Homelander seems to be more evil than the others. It could also be argued that he would do it either way, even if he wasn't created or influenced by the people around him. Since we don't know if maybe he will grow an ego since no one could really stand up against him. At the end, this evil Superman commits many horrible acts, and there's no excuses to the acts he commits. Homelander, in both versions, seems to be like a kid with powers. He knows he is strong, but he doesn't really know how to use it and what he really wants. He's easily influenced, and he does try to act smart when in reality, he is not. Yeah, he had a trouble past and other stuff. Sometimes the victim could become a criminal and commit horrible acts. But at the end, I still think he was created and influenced to be evil. That is the end. I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know if there's any other characters that you think were created evil. If you enjoyed the video, subscribing and liking will mean a lot, and adios.